families, or lack thereof, they're pretty important in the world of superheroes. There are a lot of chosen families like the X-Men, the Teen Titans, and the Avengers. Then there's Batman, but we don't talk about him. Kind of a sensitive subject. Instead, how about we talk about the families of UA students? That sounds more on brand for us. One of the first major hero families we learn about is the Iidas. The family's superhero lineage goes back 2 generations to the days of Tenya Iida's grandfather, who is currently unnamed in the story. All of the Iida's costumes are modeled after suits of armor, and it's implied that every Iida family member has the same mutant class engine quirk that we see on Iida. I gotta say, Grandpappy Iida, those are some strong dominant genes you got there. Users of Engine are able to move at incredible speeds using micro-engines that grow out of their bodies. With practice, users can adjust and improve on their top speed. One method for improving their quirk was first discovered by Tenya's grandfather and is completely horrifying. See? You just remove the exhaust pipes. Surgically. That's f***ing metal. The pipes will grow back with more strength than ever before. Is it worth it? If you're born into a pro-hero family like the Iidas, sure. I guess. It's an extremely painful process though, so it's done sparingly. We don't know a ton about Tenya's parents, but we have met his older brother Tensei Iida, aka Ingenium. In My Hero Academia's main storyline, Tensei is mostly known as Stain's victim, and as such, we've only seen him in flashbacks, hospital beds, and as justification for Tenya's intense My Chemical Romance 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge brooding. That being said, Tensei is a fully fledged supporting cast member in our favorite My Hero Academia spin-off, Vigilantes. I'm just waiting for one of the other hosts to pop out of nowhere and tell me why Vigilantes is thebomb.com. Okay, we cool? All right, let's keep going. Tenya and Tensei look practically identical in every way. Their appearance only differs in that Tensei doesn't wear glasses and his eyebrows actually look like normal eyebrows rather than the tiny little arrows that Iida has on his face. And Tensei's quirk manifests on his elbows rather than on his calves, like Tenya. Despite tense literally being in his name, Tensei's personality is way less rigid than his brother's. Tensei is generally more laid back. His heroics are based off his own sense of justice rather than just being a stickler for the rules. Maybe the relaxed attitude is because he's got a few years on Tenya. Tensei is 30, while Tenya is still a young buck at 16. Tensei is happy to get assistance from some non-registered heroes, like Vigilante Crawler, who doesn't even have a provisional license. If Tenya ran into Crawler, I can see it now, and it involves a whole lot of this. Mark my words, I'm gonna be buff one day, and I'll be able to chop bread just doing this. Just you people wait. Dumbass. Tensei, on the other hand, believes anyone with the right mindset can be a hero, and that the world always needs more heroes. I tend to agree with him, and it seems like Horikoshi does too, since that's basically the entire premise for Deku getting one for all. According to Tensei, heroes can succeed the quickest if multiple heroes are working towards the same goal. So it makes sense that Tensei has over a dozen sidekicks. The Iida family has a huge skyscraper with their family name on it, and I have to assume that's because they employ so many people. Hopefully, one of these days we meet the other Iida family members. I'd love to see Grandpa Iida have a friendly seniors-only race against Gran Torino. Oh my god, ow. I just felt like a really intense back pain after that, so maybe it's a clue that I'm becoming a senior citizen, so I'll join you in that race. Next up is the Midoriya family. Izuku Midoriya, or Deku, is Class 1A's golden boy. He's intelligent, modest, hardworking, an overachiever. I could go on, but the point is, he's special. And it's fair to assume many of these good qualities come from his mom, Inko. Deku is 16 years old in the show, and Inko Midoriya is 41 years old, which means she was 25 when Deku was born. Inko has an unnamed emitter class quirk that allows her to attract small objects like action figures. According to Horikoshi, raising Deku has been a little tough on her. She felt responsible for Deku's quirkless diagnosis, and she carried that weight with her son until her son was accepted into UA. After he started at UA, Inko felt so terrible for not believing in Deku that she handcrafted his first costume. Unfortunately, Bakugo kinda destroyed that one during their training fight. Along with my heart, you piece of shit. Fight me! Sure, Inko was finally able to let go of her guilt over Deku's quirkless status, But now that he's a UA student, she has a hell of a lot more other things to worry about, to say the least. Like Deku being killed or injured. Inko has gone on record as saying that she doesn't trust the teachers at UA, which actually seems kind of fair. How many bones has Deku broken since enrolling? Not to mention the fact that her son's middle school bully now has a school-approved excuse to beat the ever-living hell out of him. The lesson here is, go call your mom or mother figure right now. She's probably worried about you. Actually. Hi, Mom. Hi, it's Dor. Yeah, the shoot's going great. No, I'll take care of that body in the fridge later. No, I promise, I will. I'm sorry, I know it smells. Okay, catch you later, bye. Mothers, am I right? To be fair to Inko, Deku is her special little beautiful baby boy, and she's essentially been raising him as a single mother. Deku's dad, Hisashi Midoriya, just isn't around? Anime dads, am I right? His job requires him to live abroad, and we haven't seen him reach out to his wife or son so far. What's your job, Hisashi? Going to pick up cigarettes from gas stations? Huh? I've had way too much coffee today. We may not know why Hisashi is so checked out of his family life, but we do know a little bit about his quirk. His unnamed emitter class quirk allows him to breathe fire. Horikoshi has assured us that Deku's dad isn't going to be a deadbeat for the whole series. He'll make an appearance later in the series. Is it wrong, though, that when he finally shows up, I just want him to pass the dad baton to All Might? Sometimes chosen families are just better. No shame in that. Up next, the Bakugos. It is impossible to even say the word Deku without imagining Katsuki Bakugo screaming it in rage immediately after. Deku! Unsurprisingly, what we've seen from Kacchan's home life shows that his unfettered rage and relentless screaming continues when he's spending time with family members. At home, he often gets into screaming matches with his mother, best mom, Mitsuki Bakugo. I don't even want to know what goes down at their family game nights. I have a feeling that a game of Sorry would start World War III. Ooh, an operation? Big industrial-sized yikes. Despite regular shouting matches with Kacchan, Mitsuki does love him deeply and believes in his talent. And unlike her edgelord son, Mitsuki knows how to act calmly when the situation calls for it. Mitsuki thinks that Bakugo is spoiled from constantly being praised during his childhood. She's grateful to the teachers at UA, who she believes are the first to understand what he actually needs to grow. She's also thankful that they can look past his aggression and praise his, tenacity? Her hobby is playing volleyball, which seems like a solid way to get out her aggression. And she has a mutant class quirk called glycerin. Mitsuki's quirk allows her to secrete actual glycerin from her pores, inadvertently giving her super smooth skin, and I'm assuming lots of anti-aging benefits. Be jealous. In the human world, you can find glycerin in tons of skincare products. Kacchan's dad, Masaru, is Mitsuki's polar opposite. His timid and calm demeanor is a good match for the rest of his family's spice. And that's probably for the best, since he isn't great at standing up to his son's outbursts. He usually lets Kacchan do his bad boy stuff, or lets Mitsuki step in to be the disciplinarian. In keeping with his low-key personality, Masaru enjoys listening to classical music. His emitter class quirk is called Acid Sweat, and it allows him to, well, sweat acid. What kind of acid are we talking about?
The fun kind?
The kind that, like, melts your skin. I gotta know! She's gotta know! Whew, must be a nightmare when he goes to the gym. His son can sweat on command, which is a, interesting and very teenage boy evolution of his dad's quirk. But Mitsuki doesn't have that level of control, and I have to assume he's ruined a lot of shirts as the result. Like his son, he can use his sweat to create small explosions, but nothing on the scale of what Kacchan is capable of. In his youth, Masaru dreamed of becoming a pro hero, but he also enjoyed design. He decided to pursue a career in design, which is good since that's how he met Mitsuki. They first crossed paths when he was working a fashion-related job. Mitsuki thought he was cute and, as is in her style, aggressively hit on him, and it must have worked because they fell in love. And Masaru has been able to withstand Mitsuki and Kacchan's aggression ever since. Everybody's favorite's the Asui family. Froppy, or Tsuyu Asui, comes from possibly the most functional family in the series. Nothing messed up, no trauma, no single parents, no grieving. And I'm glad, because that's exactly what I want for Froppy. No sadness, just ribbits. Froppy's father, Gamma Asui, is just your standard toad man in a tie. You know, standard. Toadman. Why you looking at me weird? He has an unnamed mutant quirk that, well, gives him toad-like features. We don't know a whole lot about his personality, but he seems to fit the loving father stereotype. Mental note for our next My Hero spin-offs piece, Full House, but with frogs. I would invest every penny I have into that show. I love frogs. One of my best friends calls me Froggy Freak. Isn't that great?
Does your best friend know that Froppy's your favorite character, maybe?
It's Toga. But I do love Froppy. Like Deku's dad, Gamma's job often requires him to travel for work, which is a pretty common facet of Japanese work culture. Luckily for Gamma, he's got a great co-parent in Beru Asui, Froppy's mom. You know that kid's book, Frog and Toad Are Friends? Well, they're more than friends in My Hero. They're happily married. Beru heavily resembles a frog, but we don't know for sure that she has a quirk. And I don't want to be rude and just assume that she does. Maybe she just happens to look like a frog? Who am I to judge? I mean, honestly, I'm kind of jealous. Anybody here who follows me on Twitter knows from my bio that I may, or may not, be part amphibian. There's a strong family resemblance between Beru and Froppy. Like Gamma, Beru also has to travel for work, so Froppy is used to having a parental role. As the oldest of the 3 children, it often falls on her to take care of her younger siblings, her 10-year-old brother Samidare Asui and her 6-year-old sister Satsuki Asui. Little is known about either one outside of their ages. There is one little etymology tidbit though. Both of their names include references to rain and May. Pretty cool, especially since Froppy is known as the rainy day hero. I hope we get to see more of this cute family in the future. Something other than that Training of the Dead OVA. Please. And thank you. Love, Dorrie. The Todorokis have had the most screen time out of all these clans, thanks to 1A's wonder kid Shoto Todoroki and his problematic dad, Enji Todoroki, better known as Endeavor. So, Endeavor kinda high-key abused and traumatized the entire family in his pursuit of the top hero spot, and he's pretty open about that. I'd get into detail about all the bad stuff he did to ensure his offspring would be top heroes, but pretty much all of the words I'd have to use are on YouTube's list. And I don't want this little family explainer to get demonetized too, so let's just say he's not a good dude. Seriously, I haven't had one video demonetized yet, so I'm keeping it that way. Endeavor pursued his wife, Rei Todoroki, not out of romantic love, but because he thought her unnamed emitter class Ice quirk would pair well with his emitter class Fire spewing quirk, Hellflame. Endeavor literally used clout to force their marriage. Take that, Jake and Tana. Hate that I know who they are. As a result of that ordeal, Rei's personality has shifted over time. Before she met Endeavor, she was kind, thoughtful, and calm. After meeting him, she became the type of person to give her son a scar on his face. It's hard to really hold her accountable for that, given all she's been through. The incident happened when Todoroki's half-red hair reminded her too much of her husband. She poured an entire kettle of boiling water over her son's face, resulting in his now iconic Zuko-like scar. It's a sad and dark origin story, one that we've watched Todoroki struggle to cope with in his time at UA. Following the incident, Rei moved into a psychiatric ward where she could recover from the abuse she suffered. Because apparently Endeavor has no sense of shame at all, he still sends her emails and gifts and tries to visit her. Rei refuses to face him, to which I say, more power to you, my dear. Boundaries are important. When you add the fact that Endeavor's abuse was pretty much swept under the rug because of his top hero status, it's easy to see why the Todoroki family isn't exactly tight. Even so, Rei and Enji had 4 children together. Their first child, Toya Todoroki, hasn't made an appearance in the story so far. Endeavor considers him a failure because he only inherited fire abilities. Good job, Endeavor! Blame your child for having the genes that, you gave him. Can we get a recovery girl style hero, but like a therapist? Because that's really what Endeavor needs. Toya's fire-based emitter class quirk is allegedly stronger than Endeavor's, but he lacks the resolve to use his power to full advantage. Again, wonder why? Could it be A, his evil fire dad, B, his evil fire dad, or C, his evil fire dad? Toya is currently in his early 20s. Based on these details and a few others, there's a popular fan theory that Toya is actually Dabi from the League of Villains. And our sister channel, Channel Frederator, actually did an entire video about that. By the way, you should pop on over to Channel Frederator after this because their Teen Titans timeline may feature a very familiar voice.
Why? I wonder who that could be. Dorrie?
The second-born child, Fuyumi Todoroki, took up many of the nurturing maternal duties for the family in her mother's absence. And she takes special care of Shoto. It's unknown if she has a quirk, but given her hair color, it's possible she inherited Rei's ice quirk. She has a hard time handling hot weather, which, honestly, same, so that supports the theory that she has an ice quirk. Here's a surprising statement. Endeavor considers her a failure too. Still, she had an optimistic outlook for her family. She still manages to care for her father and tries to boost the family's morale when she can. She's probably so good at dealing with a petulant egoist like Endeavor because she's an elementary school teacher by day. Absolutely nothing can faze her. It's said that she chose her career because she feels guilty that she wasn't able to do more to protect Shoto from Endeavor's rigorous training when they were young. That brings us to the middle brother, Natsuo Todoroki. He's 19 years old and pursuing a college degree in health and welfare. He's mostly an easygoing fella, but Natsuo gets serious when it comes to family matters. Like most of his siblings, he resents Endeavor and doesn't even like talking about the guy. We don't know if Natsuo has a quirk, but it's fair to assume that Endeavor considers him a failure. That's just par for the course at this point. Natsuo loves warm weather, so if that's any indicator, he's a demon. I mean, he has a fire-based quirk. Now onto our favorite Todoroki, Shoto. Because Shoto has that perfect icy hot blend, Endeavor gave him special attention. But if you've learned anything about Endeavor from this video so far, it's that you don't want to catch that guy's eye. Endeavor's special training regimen distanced Shoto from the rest of his family. Literally. Endeavor made them live in separate houses. I hate rich people, y'all. Nonetheless, the siblings maintained a close bond. Alright, so we've got time for one more family, and I'm picking this one. Jiro. Given Kyokujiro's quirk, headphone jack, her innate talent for music, and her rocker fashion sense, it's no surprise that both of her parents work in the music industry. Jiro's father, Kyotoku Jiro, doesn't have a quirk, but the man has more than enough passion to make up for it. Kyotoku is 40 years old, and he primarily works as a music composer. His favorite genre is rock and roll, but don't let that rocker aesthetic fool you. He's an empathetic, easygoing guy. His life's greatest loves? His daughter and making music. Oh, and his hot wife Mika Jiro too! Of course. Mika is a talented musician and punk rocker. Kyotoku was attracted to her immense musical talent. Right. I'm sure it had nothing to do with the fact that she's like a total babe. We don't know what instruments Mika plays or how successful she's been in her career, but according to my headcanon, she's the My Hero equivalent of Kim Deal. Or maybe Patti Smith. Or Debbie Harry. Or Tina Weymouth. I'm just naming females in rock that I have a huge crush on at this point. Mika has the same mutant-class earphone jack quirk as her daughter Jiro. The quirk gives its user extendable aux cables that connect right to their earlobes, allowing the user to detect and control certain vibrations. The Jiro surname actually comes from her side of the family. And while I'd love for this to be some sort of super progressive statement, it's actually pretty common in Japan for a husband to take a wife's name. Add that to my list of reasons why I'm moving to Japan. It's always fun to learn more about UA students when they're off duty, so here's to hoping Season 4 is chock full of lore. And students in casual clothes. I'm just a sucker for that. I'm Dorrie, thank you for watching, and if I made you smile, subscribe to GetintheRobot, your anime explainer.